Hey everybody, welcome to episode 178 of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. We got a very special episode today. We are talking about cannabis, clinical research, AI. I've got Christina, who's the CEO of AI Health Outcomes, and the COO, Wayne. This is a brand new startup. I've interviewed Christina before. She's heavily involved in the clinical research space, CRO, patient advocacy. They do all kinds of stuff. She's very forward-thinking. She's gotten into the cannabis space. How long ago did you start getting into that arena?
It's been almost a year and a half now.
A year and a half. And now you've launched AI Health Outcomes. Can you tell me what that is, why you launched it, and what it plans to do?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on the show. It's always great to talk with you and talk about what we're doing in the cannabis space, as a lot of people are now becoming very intrigued by what is going on in the medical cannabis CBD space. So I appreciate you taking the opportunity to talk to Wayne and myself about this. Because,
absolutely. Thank you guys.
No problem. So we launched, Wayne and I, through our original companies that you mentioned, Affinity Biopartners, and then Wayne's company, which is HCXP, which is a tech company. We partner ABP with HCXP for all of our clinical data needs as it relates to clinical research. So that's kind of giving you the backlay on
for the CRO, right? This for the CRO.
Right.
So what kind of data do you track, Wayne or Christina, for the CRO?
Sure.
So
I'll take that. I'll go ahead.
I was just, go ahead.
Basically, HCXP has been collecting patient satisfaction and patient experience data since 2013. I believe we launched HCXP. Currently in about 30 locations nationwide, just using that platform. And it's the very similar data that we need for successful clinical research. Is similar to what we collect in these locations. So it's really patient satisfaction, patient experience based information, but we can collect that at point of care during these trials by using technology. And Cannabot, of course, will help, with that patient experience, patient satisfaction. We're pretty excited about the opportunity. Christina, did I miss anything?
You missed a little bit. I just wanted to talk about the EDC factor. So
Right.
Wayne is my EDC provider.
Really, Wayne? Okay, we gotta. Nice to meet you. We gotta talk.
Great.
Because that's how we first met. Actually, we met based on the tech side of EDC needs that we have, and so that we've been working together very, very, very closely now for. I don't know how long now it's been, but Wayne and I also are the co-founders of the Medical Cannabis Advisory Board that I told you about before, Dan. So now you're finally seeing like all the jigsaw puzzles kind of fit together as far as my counterparts and why, everything really works so well with us, because we've been working closely on the research side with HXP. And so when this opportunity came up to develop the Cannabot, because we're already working in medical cannabis CBD through clinical research and the MCAB, it made sense for us to continue to push this envelope forward and help patients. I mean, Wayne and I will go to events together from an advocacy standpoint as well. We were just in the Lehigh Valley, Allentown area 3 weeks ago, where there's a child that we're supporting that's 14 that has a rare form of lymphoma, and from an advocacy standpoint, and there was a benefit for him, and then they asked me to be on their panel to talk about medical cannabis research, and that was why we launched the Cannabot that previous Friday, was so that we could get it out there and then talk about it on Saturday live with patients, which was an extraordinary.
It was fun.
It was so much fun, because we are really going to be able to help patients.
That's really the bottom line.
So what is the
providing
Cannabot?
information.
what's the can I bought? Because it sounds like R2D2 rolling around smoking a joint. Like, what? People are gonna be listening, thinking, "What is this?" Like, break it down for me. Cannabot. It's a cool name, great name. When you emailed me about it, Christina, I was like, "That's an awesome name." But what does it do? Like, why should anyone care what this does?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about it from the patient standpoint. Then I turn it over to Wayne because he's my tech guy. You know, he's
Sure.
that guy. You know, we're like yin and yang here.
Okay.
Seems like it.
So from a patient standpoint, as you know, I have a lot of patients that contact me for medical cannabis needs because they put two and two together that we work in this space. So a lot of the feedback we get from these patients is that they don't always feel as educated as they could be regarding medical cannabis and or CBD that they're taking legally through the appropriate state with their, with their cards, and they're seeing physicians. And some of the feedback we're getting is that the dosage isn't always correct. They're not getting the return, so to speak, on the actual drug itself that they're taking, and they have a lot of questions that are unanswered, and they go to the internet, they try to figure it out, and you know what's on the internet. It's a bunch of, I mean, it could be a rec person writing that's not medical based, and then these people, and this is very new, especially, not in California, as you guys have been doing this since 1996, but in Pennsylvania, it's very new, and the population, patient majority population, is 55 and above, right? And they, unless they were back in the day, hippies, they're not going to understand this stuff. And so we need to help them,
Right.
And so the Cannabot will actually provide them with the ability to be educated about the product they're taking. And if they're feeling like, oh, I'm not having relief, say, with my back, the Cannabot will say, okay, when was the last time you took your medicine? What did you take? Did you try to take a topical? And it'll try to prompt the patient through the pattern of their discomfort. And then there's an escalation tier that occurs up back to the physician who originally subscribed to the bot, or to the dispensary to let them know that there's a problem with the patient, that it's been escalated back.
Yeah. Not only that, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I stopped talking.
Just to clarify, so I understand, but people watching or listening may not. Medical CBD has nothing to do with getting people high. Like, it's let's just put that. I know Christina and I discussed this last time, but that was months ago, and there's a lot of new people watching. So this is therapeutic CBD. It's prescribed by doctors.
Correct.
So okay, let's preface it with that. Okay, Wayne.
Sure. Now this is the fun stuff. This is where it gets really interesting, because Cannabot can be used by the doctor to help educate their patients. But not only that, it helps with patient and physician engagement. So the increased value in the knowledge that the Cannabot can hold can take away those first-line conversations, or those questions that doctors get all the time where they don't have time to answer immediately, or it's just question after question of the same thing. For example, we spoke to a group in California that he said he gets calls in the middle of the night, and Cannabot will be there for it. In fact, I just turned my Alexa off so she doesn't try to respond when I say her name. But basically, Dan, you can just simply ask the Cannabot, and it's associated with the doctor that you're seeing or the dispensary that you're going to.
Interesting. So it has an Alexa skill?
Oh, that's what Cannabot is. Our Cannabot is going to be an Alexa skill, or is an Alexa skill, but it also works on Skype and Facebook Messenger.
So it's Alexa skill first. It's not an app. There's no app.
That's correct.
No.
It's an Alexa skill. Our doctors will be able to view the reports on the back end. So I guess it is kind of an application or a solution, but it is an Alexa skill available on Skype and Messenger, and it just acts as a bot. So these patients will be comfortable at any time of the day or night to ask questions about their concerns.
And also Facebook, right? You guys have a Facebook chat bot?
Facebook Messenger,
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Right. So now you kind of get the picture where, for example, they can ask their doctor, I have this condition. What is the best medication at this dispensary that you could recommend for this? And basically taking some of that conversation away from the first introduction to the dispensary or the quote unquote bud tender, where the dispensaries have to be concerned what information their bud tenders are sharing. They can be absolutely certain that Cannabot is sharing the precise information based on all of their medications with their patients.
Okay.
Right. That's another issue, right? Because we have patients that come to us that are current, like I said, medical cannabis card holders. And there's one in particular that Wayne knows about that we've been working with that has epilepsy. And she's very young. She's in her 30s.
Yeah.
And she has 2 kids that are spectrum also. And so it's a lot, right? You're already sick. And then you're taking care of your 2 children. And she was telling me that she was having breakthrough seizures with cannabis, and I'm like, that's not right. You shouldn't. And the amounts of breakthrough seizures that she's been having suggested that they gave her the wrong strain, and so she doesn't know enough about all these strains, right, to be able to challenge the bud tender to say, hey, look, I think I should be taking this one instead. This is what I'd like to take instead of this other one that they're trying to give them. So this will really equip the patient to almost advocate for themselves in a sense.
Right. It empowers the patient. Everyone's talking about e-patient movement.
Exactly.
So is this free? Who's paying for it? The patient, the physicians?
So it's free for the patients. We do not want the patients to pay for this tool. So we'll have the subscribers come through biotech CROs that are in the space, as well as dispensaries, academic universities that are also running clinical research, medical cannabis physicians. So it's basically and advocacy firms.
Are there a lot of studies going on right now with CBD?
There's a ton of studies going on right now, a ton.
And there's CROs. Like, I know your CRO does a ton, but what about like the big CROs like IQVIA, Syneos? Are they involved in any of these?
Well, I can tell you one of the big ones, and I won't say who because I don't, but there's a big one that's behind the closet helping out the cannabis industry, but they're not full-fledged marketing. And the reason why I know is I'm friends with a senior management person there who gave me the heads up that they were working on something.
Interesting.
So, and Bear entered into an agreement with a dispensary or a grow. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember seeing Bear coming into the marketplace. So if Bear's coming in, they're not going to work with a small firm CRO like mine. They're going to want to work with the larger ones. So the big guys are going to be coming in soon to us.
But maybe I am ignorant in this space. Are CBD products able to be patented and just like any drug?
It depends on the technology, right? So they can patent the way that they make the medicine from a derivative-based process. So that's totally patentable.
Okay, so there is a market then for big pharma and biotechs to get involved here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the clinical research angle. So biotech, CROs, universities, they're all getting into this space, increasingly so, right?
Yeah, so like UCLA has a division that they're building out just in cannabis. They're doing cannabis research. Over here in the Pennsylvania area, it's 11 to 13 academic universities that have been approved by the state of Pennsylvania to do research. And so we kind of work with all of them knowing what they're doing and paying attention. And like Thomas Jefferson University, as a matter of fact, has its own division just for cannabis research. And they're going to be doing, it's almost like a Shark Tank in the fall for cannabis startups. So we applied to participate with our Cannabot because we're the only ones with this AI technology right now. Knock on wood.
Now, you guys are super smart for doing that. I mean, Alexa skill. Hopefully mine doesn't turn on. She's listening now.
She's always listening.
That's right.
That's one thing I learned.
We were on an MCAB call yesterday with some of our advisors, and all of a sudden, I think I said Cannabot. I don't know. And all of a sudden, Alexa came on. Wayne had her on.
Yeah,
I was on. And
wow.
She starts talking while we're on the meeting, and and the team's like, "What's going on?" Like they're clueless,
That's
because
cool.
Cannabot's not part of the MCAB. It's a separate, this is something separate we're doing.
So for someone to chat with the Cannabot, let's say I go on Facebook, okay, do I have to like the page and then I can start interacting with it, or how does that work?
Well, you'll just, as far as Messenger is concerned, it'll just basically be like another friend request. Just like on Skype, you add the bot as a contact, and it acts as an individual. The really neat thing about this, especially when we start connecting with the dispensaries and so forth, research has indicated for Christine and I that using bots, not just in medical cannabis, but in industry across the board, has the potential to increase your sales 10 to 22%. And so I also believe that the bot will show an immediate ROI to these dispensaries if they use it appropriately. And basically, Cannabot will be able to schedule appointments, from the end user to the dispensary or to the doctor. And
wow.
I'm thinking, Dan, I'm thinking you're in California, I believe. There's thousands of delivery dispensaries in California. Can you imagine if the patient can just say, "Hey, I need this medication or this flower delivered because I know it works for my condition," and in a snap, the delivery's on the way instead of making that phone call and doing all that stuff. Can all be handled with the Cannabot.
I think you guys are on to something with not just CBD, but if you guys can pull this off, and it's smart that you're starting out in the CBD space because it's going to be a niche product at first, but mass industry adoption, like just for any kind of clinical research study, to have chatbots, that will help with retention.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have to deal with IRB approval and all that, but I'm sure that will get done at some point. So you guys might be onto something really big here, even beyond the CBD space.
Well, that's our hope.
That's our intent. The way that the bot was designed, we're able to have the bot work in various therapeutic areas. So we just decided, from a C-class standpoint, that we were launching it in the cannabis space first, because right now, and we mean no disrespect to the traditional folks, but we felt like this was the highest unmet medical need. And we're hoping that the Cannabot will help with stigma-related things, right? The more education we can provide, the information that's going to come out of our bot that we can share at that we're at. I just got asked to speak at the local Philadelphia Women in Bio chapter about the bot in September. And that's traditional biotech. Like, they're like, "Hey, we have a bot. Can you come and talk to us?" Sure.
It could also, I mean, the applications could extend even beyond research into the safety reporting aspect.
Oh,
right?
my goodness. Yes. Exactly.
It's amazing what this thing is going to, that's why. So you're understanding now why we didn't put it under Affinity or under HCXP, why this has to be a separate company.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're even thinking about something, and I can't say exactly right now until we launch that thing.
Yeah.
But work with children for a specific need in the with kids, and it's not medically related; it's more psychologically related.
Right.
And so when we do that, the bot can't be under a CRO or a tech company that supports health. It has to be under a separate standalone tech company.
Now, have you heard anything? And I've had Metadata on the podcast. I just interviewed ClinCapture CEO. They're big in the EDC and getting into eSource and all these things. Do you know? I never asked because I'm just learning about this through you guys. But the applications there is anyone working on chatbots and for the purpose of clinical research, retention, or safety reporting, maybe or even just beyond clinical research that you're aware of? Because I'm sure you've researched this space a lot more than I did. So what have you seen there?
We're not aware of anything right now.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, even in the cannabis industry, there's one app that you can use for strains.
Right.
And our bot will help with strains, but it's mostly from a patient satisfaction standpoint.
Yeah, it is interesting. My research has indicated that there are some bots available, chat bots. And when I say chat bot, Facebook Messenger, basically. But as far as an Alexa skill, I think we're probably the first one to the table with this type of application and the numerous possibilities that lie before it.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go back to the CBD space just to educate people out there, and then we'll come back to the AI component. But what's a typical regulatory pathway? And we'll preface this, you're not giving legal advice for anyone out there starting a biotech. But let's say I have a CBD product and I want to go through clinical trials. I have to get an IND just like anything else, right?
No, if you know what my advice is, and our because I'm not regulatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have that I work with for regulatory, but our regulatory partners, what we advise is that first do a small proof of claim study through the IRB to make sure that the product is working before you waste all of your millions and millions of dollars IND. And it's completely legitimate to do an IRB-based CBD study or medical cannabis study happening in the industry right now for startup companies.
Okay, good. But let's say you do that and you want to apply for an IND. Is it treated the same as any drug?
Well, it is. And the FDA has a special division just for cannabis.
Okay. So they have their own pathway.
Yeah. So I've called them before to ask them questions for clients that they've had. And they're actually really nice when you call them. They're happy that I'm not a recreational person calling to ask questions, because they get a lot of them. And it's very, I can understand why they would be upset, right? Because they're the FDA. I mean,
can you define what's recreational versus therapeutic?
So recreational is more of how do I explain it? Obviously I think people smoke from a recreational standpoint because they need it therapeutically, but they're the people out there more with the bongs and the bowls and 420 madness and all that stuff. We're supporters of the medical side. This is a therapeutic advancement for conditions where you need. We had a patient last night, neuropathy now, and she's a stage 3-4, believe it, cancer survivor, but now she has neuropathy. And she went to her oncologist, and he said, "Oh, well, it's part of getting chemo." A hairstylist, so she needs to be able to use her hands, right? That's what she does for a living. And so she contacted me because she's interested in learning more about medical cannabis or CBD for her neuropathy. And so, what I mean by the therapeutic medicinal factor, we're not the ones that are going to be out there with a sign saying, you can smoke in a club and all that. We're not into that.
So let's say I'm a patient. Hypothetically, I've actually only smoked weed twice in my life, and but I am curious about CBD for some family members for therapeutic purposes. There's some depression, there's some bipolar mania, and I've heard that they could help. CBD could help. So let's say I'm a patient. I want to use the Cannabot service. What do I do? Do I go to a website? Do I ask my doctor? My doctor,
It would be either a doctor or a dispensary. It depends who has the access is how you'll get access.
Yeah, but okay, let's say doctor, right? I go to my doctor. First of all, and correct me if I'm wrong, 90% of doctors are going to laugh at me and say, you don't need CBD, you need something
Oh,
else, right?
oh, when we say doctor, we mean medical cannabis physician.
Oh,
Don't, not
okay.
primary care.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, because
thinking.
90% of doctors will say you're crazy.
That's right.
Maybe 99. I was trying to be nice.
That's true.
Okay, so medical. So I go to a dispensary that specializes in medical CBD.
Well, like in our, and there's medical cannabis physicians everywhere, right? So, in LA, there's Dr. Bonnie Goldstein, who is, world renowned with medical cannabis treatments. She works a lot in the pediatric pop. I've spoken to her probably about a month or two ago for one of my clients about an epilepsy study. So if you're seeing a medical cannabis physician, that's who can give you access to the bot as long as they've subscribed to us.
I see. Okay, and do they have to pay, or who's paying for this?
Yeah, the physician groups, the dispensaries, et cetera, would be paying.
And the benefit for them is what? To track the progress of the treatment?
Well,
go ahead.
I'll take a stab at this, or at least part of it. The benefit for the dispensary or doctor is that they can communicate exactly what they need or want to communicate to their patients through the bot. So they teach the bot the conversation that they would have with their patients. Basically the bot, think of it as first line support, or taking those first line questions off the plate of the dispensary or the doctor. The calls and questions that come in night and day that are typical, but the benefit at the dispensary level is they can then use the bot to recommend their product. We're working with some groups. There's a dispensary group we talk to down in Florida, and they have dispensaries all over the place, but they also have their own branded product, and their product, their different products meet the need of many different symptoms. So the bot at the dispensary level can communicate to their patients that, yes, we do recommend this medication, our medication for this symptom. So there's a benefit to not only the patient to communicate with their doctor at any time of the day or night, but also at the dispensary level or physician level to communicate what they would recommend, based on their product, their experience, and the knowledge of their, oops, sorry about that.
That's okay. Yes, it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
From a dispensary level standpoint, how I was mentioning that patient we were helping that was getting the wrong strain? Well, there's plenty of dispensaries to go to, right? You don't have to go to just that one that's nearby.
Yeah.
This patient could go to another one and get a different strand or talk to a different bud tender, whatever, pharmacist, and they'll recommend whatever product they're carrying, right? So if we can stop the patient from leaving them with helpful information, and there's that ability for the tier 2 escalation for the dispenser to turn around and the bud tender or whomever is responsible for interacting with the patient when there's an issue, then perhaps they can retain that patient rather than losing that patient to go to another dispensary, or number 2, stopping altogether because they don't believe in the product.
Wow. This is actually the more I'm hearing this from you, and the only thing I read was the email you sent me, so I did no research for this, but the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm realizing this is actually really smart. It reminds me a lot of, I'm involved in an exosome startup, and the end goal is to create better treatments for Alzheimer's and oncology, but where we're starting is in osteoarthritis. It's a low-hanging fruit, and I think, I don't know if it's intentionally, but you guys picked your low-hanging fruit, but there's further applications in research and in pharma.
Exactly.
So it's a way to monetize first, but also reinvest in future applications, right? Now, this will be and this is where we're like glimpsing into the future. So, do you think a chatbot, because it's technically recording some data, right? I mean, not some data. It is recording data if you use it in a study. Do you think it should be treated as a medical device or a diagnostic in that case? Or because it's not a EDC. I mean, EDC is strictly patient industry facing, but this would be patient facing. It'd be more like a ePro, I guess. And ePros are not treated as diagnostics, so I don't know. But this would be one step further, I think. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it would have to be considered a diagnostic, right? Because we're getting data from the interaction with the patient, right? And that data dump, we're able to look in the reports to see what's exactly going on with this patient pop, as well as, the DMOG and some of the frequently asked questions. We're going to be able to see what's happening. So I would say it would have to be a device or diagnostic, because that's what it really is, right?
Yeah, fascinating. You guys are the first one I've ever heard to do this.
Nice.
Really cool stuff. And I think you're so far ahead of your time. But maybe not for CBD, but for research applications, probably. But it's better to be ahead of your time than late to the party.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
You want that land grab early. So that's really cool. Anything else you want to share? Where can people find out more about those?
Wayne, do you want to take that one?
Well, we're pre-beta. We expect to do beta in about a month with a client. I'm sorry, a doctor in Massachusetts, and but they can find out more right now at what is it, AI Health Outcomes, or is that what we purchased?
No, it's Cannabot AI.
Oh yeah, Cannabot AI.
Cannabot AI.
Yeah, and then we'll have a company page, but we've literally just filed with the state for approval 2 days ago.
Wow.
Everything is happening fast, because
this is early. CannabotAI.com.
Yeah.
And
if you follow us on Instagram through the original companies, Affinity Biopartners and HCXP's on Instagram, they don't post a lot.
Follow us on LinkedIn.
But LinkedIn, under us as people, individuals.
Right.
Twitter.
Wayne and Christina, I'll put your links for you guys under the Christina. Wayne, I don't think we're connected, but I'll find you from Christina's.
We'll make sure that we do get connected. It's
yeah.
Wayne Kelly on LinkedIn,
Wayne
HC
Kelly.
Experience or HCXP.
Wayne Kelly.
Yeah, connecting with Christina and I probably is the best way to find out more information right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put links to LinkedIn for you guys. Now, you don't have to answer, but you can if you want. It'd be nice. Are you guys crowdfunding, self-funding, VC? Are you open to everything? What's going on here?
We haven't even thought about crowdfunding yet. We are very blessed to have a very strong financial advisor that raises capital on the daily in the cannabis space, but also in other industries as well. We're really, really lucky to have, his name is David Link, and that's who is our lead finance advisor that we're working with from a collaborative standpoint. So we have people already interested. I'm not making this up. We have people already interested in this, and we haven't even really started to hit the ground from a perspective.
That's awesome. Give me 1% equity and I'll do marketing for the rest of your lives.
Sounds good. It sounds good.
We should probably talk somewhere.
We should talk. This is amazing.
We will.
We will help the marketing aspect.
Oh, good. Yeah, seriously, 1%.
Absolutely.
I'll do it. I mean, this is this is a lot of potential here. I see, and for me, it'd be fun to do it. So yeah, we should talk. But anything else? So LinkedIn. We'll go to LinkedIn for both of you. A lot of potential here. Way ahead of our time. Things in research move so slow. So you're smart to do CBD first. You're really smart to do CBD first because they're more open to these kind of things.
Yes. Yeah.
Dan, that's one of the reasons. In fact, when we were talking to Dave, he was surprised to hear me say that I believe our biggest potential right now is in CBD outside of traditional. And the reason I say that is because, in traditional healthcare, it's if it's not broke, don't fix it mentality. So they're using legacy devices, they're using legacy solutions to try to come up with today's solution, today's answers, and it's just impossible. So traditional healthcare is just, they move at the pace of a dead snail. And whereas in CBD, we think we got a very good leg up on most of competitors if they're out there.
And just something food for thought. I like pulling random things and connect them somehow, even if there's no connections. So what do you think? What do you think about blockchain? Can this apply to what you're doing at all?
As a matter of fact, our Niraj, our CTO, is big into blockchain. So I do expect, that we incorporate blockchain security and data transfer, post launch, after we get Cannabot into people's hands and we build out the reporting and, that aspect of it.
You should do a Cannabot coin where people can use it to buy.
Oh,
CBD.
That's a good idea.
I'm sure there's people doing that, but it's not it's not through your chatbots and all that, so it'd be a differentiator.
And I got to tell you, the amazing thing about this, and it's so new, it's only been 2 weeks. What's been so amazing is that people have been contacting us, right? Just out of the blue. I got connected with someone who wants me to come to a tech exclusive event in DC in October.
Wow.
And it's like, whoa, I just jumped into this. Always work technology, right? And formed a strategic partnership with HCXP. Obviously, I understand tech. But it's been really cool. And I was even talking to a traditional biotech attorney today from a very long law firm in Philadelphia.
Is that Darshan? It's not Darshan.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. He actually works with the regulatory partners we use.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's involved in everything.
Yeah, he's cool. Actually, that gives me a thing. I should actually reach out to him because I don't know if he's been paying attention to our bot. But
I don't think so. Yeah,
it's only been a couple weeks.
We've become good buddies. But this attorney, she's just so ecstatic about the bot that she wanted information about it. I talked to a physician yesterday that we work with, Wayne and I, from the research side. They're going to beta test for us. He's joined our advisory board now. They are totally behind our bot, and it's only been 2 weeks. It's so much fun. And we're helping people. At the end of the day, we're going to help all these people.
This is cool. And the reason why I think you guys will do well is, and no offense to like college dropouts and stuff, but it's not like you just woke up with an idea 2 weeks ago. I mean, you've been putting in work in this industry, like, I don't know how many, can I say 20 years? Is that right? I think
yeah, 20
We're going to talk
years.
About our age now.
I'm trying to do it in a nice way. Like, so you've
it, Dan.
You've created like CROs. I mean, you've been involved in this space. It's not like you just have a pie in the sky idea. So it lends more credibility to what you guys are doing, and I think it has a much better chance of being successful than somebody who just dropped out of college and likes to smoke weed.
Right.
So good stuff.
Thank you. I think Christina and my experience in traditional, we each bring 20 years experience from the traditional side. Mine mostly in data collection and applications, submitting data to CMS and the Joint Commission, and that kind of data collection. Most of my experience has been in patient satisfaction, patient experience, and that's what I bring to the table to this project. And Christina, of course, has, her 20 plus in bio, so it's fun.
You guys
it's a great
good team. Yeah, I'm
in.
And
That's
we look young.
We're like yin and yang.
We really look good for our age. You can't tell.
No, you guys do look good for your age.
Years,
That's why I said what I said, because when people watch, they're gonna think you're like in your 20s. And why am I interviewing these people? Like, no, these are serious industry people. They've been doing this much longer than I. For sure, much longer than 99% of you watching or listening. So pay attention. They know what they're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great time, Dan.
Yep, likewise. And thank you, everybody. I'm going to put links in the show notes for the LinkedIn profiles. And definitely Wayne and Christina are two people you should get to know. Wayne, I will connect with you if we're not already.
Sounds good.
And we'll do this again. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch. Take care.